welcome to the Woolly Thistle podcast. I am your host, Maggie, and today I'm joined by Jill.
Hi.
Who is our customer success rep here at the Woolly Thistle. Our chief boss is on vacation. Corinne is on vacation this week, so Jill and I are here for the podcast.
I feel like a substitute teacher. And
hopefully that's a good thing.
I think.
You've joined us a couple times now. You sat with Corinne. I had a lot of fun watching it that Friday while I was on vacation. Mm-hmm. And I know we recorded the three of us a couple weeks ago. That was fun.
Yeah.
So now it's just you and me.
I know.
We've done a couple lives together.
Yeah, we have.
But I think this is the first time we've recorded a podcast together.
It is. Yeah. So
it's not often that I sit in the role of Corinne and having to keep us on task and reading the script. So fingers crossed. In case you're new here, the Woolly Thistle, we are an online yarn store. We also now have a brick and mortar that we had our grand opening back in July. So if you're traveling through New Hampshire, you can come and visit us.
It's right out there, right out those doors.
Yes, we're recording in my office today because we're in the middle of, we're participating in a local shop hop, which has been going really well.
It has. If you're watching this on Friday, we still have Friday and Saturday. So if you're local, come visit us today or tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And we're here until 5, both days.
Yeah, and we will be announcing our regular hours very, very soon. We'll have them posted on the website. We're still sort of figuring out what's the best time for us and the best time for you. Mm-hmm. So keep an eye on our website for our brick and mortar hours, and you can shop online anytime. For our podcast here, we are no longer running ads on our channel. We're hoping that you'll support us by coming and visiting the shop. That helps us, and you get yarn and books and other great things. Mm-hmm. So that's wonderful. We also have a fairly new PIPS program, which is a rewards program that you earn points every time that you shop. PIPS are points in progress for the Knitterly or Crafterly. Mm-hmm. It's a play on whips. Do you want to tell us who we have joining us this episode?
Sure. Today we have Caitlin with her recent FO and a trip to the Indiana State Fair. I remember watching her last year with her things that she took, and I know she took some more things this year.
Great.
We have Rachel on Fair Isle, and we have a Thistle contribution again this week. We have Mary. She's 24 years old and wants to show people that knitting is not just for old people, and it can be cool. So we're looking forward to all of those things this week.
Great. So, yeah. Well, clearly knitting's not just for old people. You and I are doing it.
I know.
I'm not old yet.
I
hope to one day be an old knitter.
Yes.
Right now, I'm just a middle-aged knitter. But that's wonderful. Thank you, Mary. I'm looking forward to watching. Every episode, we have 2 winners for a gift card to the Woolly Thistle. The way that you are entered to win a gift card is just leave us a comment. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and then leave a comment below. Just any comment letting us know what you like, what you don't like. Any comment. Our first winner today, do you want to?
Sure. Our first winner is Lydia Annabelle 8990. And Lydia Annabelle says, "Thank you again for another interesting and inspiring Shopcast. I always look forward to it. I really love all the content, and I get so excited to see what's new in the shop." So thank you very much, Lydia Annabelle, sorry. And send us an email at info@thewoollythistle.com and put prize winners all in capital letters in your subject line. And when I get that, I'll send you back a $25 gift card, and you can use that on your next purchase. So thank you.
Great. And are you wearing any wool today?
I am. I'm wearing a Sophie scarf in my hair. So that's
that is so cute.
Yeah, that's my what I'm wearing today. So
that's really cute. I do have socks on, but I'm not going to stretch to show. Do you want to go into, do you have any FOs or whips or?
I have a whip. I have actually I have 2 whips. So I'll show you my most recent. I'm making another Sophie scarf out of Making Tracks Lite. It's Junction Fiber Mill. So I'm making another. Whoa!
Get away.
Get away. So I'm making another one of those. I just started it. It's in the color Zinnia. The fun part about this one is I'm trying really hard to learn how to knit continentally.
Okay.
Well, actually, not just to learn. I know how to. I'm trying to switch to knitting continental. So I committed to, at about this point, at this point I committed to I was going to finish the rest of it knitting continental. So
okay.
I thought a garter stitch project would be a really good way to just practice that.
Yeah, because you're just knit.
Yeah, so from the beginning to here, I was knitting with my right hand English style, and from here to here, I've been knitting continental. So
that's kind of bold to switch mid project.
It is, but it's also a hair tie. Okay. So, you know.
Because the first project, I remember I was knitting a scarf when I discovered that there was a thing such as continental, and I had previously mostly been a crocheter.
Okay.
Just because like I liked knitting, but I was clunky with throwing my yarn, and no matter how much I did it, I didn't seem to be getting any better. And when I saw continental knitting, I was like, oh, that's going to be amazing. And so I switched mid-project on my scarf, and you literally saw it go in and then out. It was a massive figure 8, so I ended up ripping out the scarf. But I learned how to knit continental, and it's been nonstop since. So
yeah. So my husband is also a knitter. I think I've talked about that before. He started as a thrower, like I am, and about a year ago switched to continental, and is now like knitting circles around me. Like the speed of his knitting has just gone through the roof, and so I decided I couldn't let that happen. And also, I know as my hands are getting older, all that extra moving on, you know, with the thumb and my wrist and everything is not necessarily great. So I decided I would try something different.
I think it's nice to be able to just mix it up too.
Yeah.
Like I think if you still want to do a project where you're just throwing, you could still do that.
Yeah.
But then you can also have another one going where you're just...
Well, and I know also for color work, a lot of people, and I do, I mean, that's how I learned originally, was for a color work project. Yeah. But to hopefully be able to do it easily will be nice.
Yeah, it's color work that's gotten me actually better at throwing, because I do hold one in each hand. I've tried holding both in my left hand, and I just can't. It still ends up very fiddly, and I'm having to readjust all the time. And so for me, it's easier to have one in each hand, but I know that's not everybody. So yeah, so this is my current small project, or my whip. And then I have a Felix cardigan. This is my second Felix cardigan. Knit with Lettlopi. So you can see it's this lovely little, and I decided to do a little accent on it. So I have one row of gray on both of the sleeves, and I'll have it on the bottom when I get there. Gotcha. I'm almost at the bottom now. I have like maybe an inch or two left in the body. Okay. And then I'll put that row of gray on there. And then when I do the button band, I'll have one row of gray. That's awesome. Yeah. So yeah. And this is your second Felix cardigan. This is my second Felix cardigan. I have the yarn for a third one. Okay. And I just this morning decided I'm gonna make my sweater cowl. A Felix? Yeah. The Felix has become my vanilla sweater. Okay. So, you know, I'm a cardigan wearer. And so this is my go-to. If I don't know what to knit, I'm apparently knitting a Felix now. Yeah. So our sweater cowl is our biggest cowl of the year. It starts at the end of the month. Sign-ups are open now. You can sign up on the website. If you go to our website, there's a sweater cowl link right at the top of the page. Signing up is free. We do ask that, so for the rules are on the page, but just a real quick, we request that you use about 80%, at least 80% of TWT yarn purchased over at any point in time. So you can go stash diving to your TWT stash if you'd like. And the only prerequisite, you can pick any sweater pattern that you would like. It's just supposed to be an adult size long sleeve sweater. But you can knit any pattern you'd like. If you're looking for ideas, we'll be talking about this soon. We've got lots of new sweater kits and lots of great sweater kits that have been available in the shop. We do have a sweater kit for the Felix. And on this mannequin here, this is my Felix pullover. So we have kits for both the pullover and the cardigan. It's a great sweater. It is. It almost looks better on the mannequin than it does on me. She's a bit more shapely, but... So, and the Felix is designed by Amy Christoffers, who is local to us. And I didn't realize that until she came in one day to do an in-store, like a curbside pickup. And I realized who she was, and I tried not to fangirl. Yeah. But I don't think I did very good. Yeah, she was delightful. Yeah. I hadn't met her before either, so I also prevented fangirling. Yeah. So she was wonderful. Yeah, and all her designs are beautiful. She's recently released a new cardigan pattern that has that quilting motif on it. I think it just released at time of recording, it just released like yesterday. It's really beautiful.
Okay.
So I know I showed my socks last episode, but they are completely done now. I have been knitting a pair of socks a month. These are counting as my July socks. I knit them during our sock sprint for my youngest daughter, and they're both finished now. I'm really happy with them. The pattern is the Herding Cats pattern by Charlotte Stone of Stone Knits. I used a West Yorkshire Spinners in the chocolate lime colorway for the main color, and then some mini skeins I had in my stash for the kitty cats. And they are really, really cute. And they're a little small on these blockers because my daughter's feet are incredibly tiny. Although I say that, but I could get my feet in these.
Nice.
So apparently my feet aren't much bigger than hers.
So I remember you saying the last time that you changed the size of your needle on the cats.
Oh yeah, I think somebody asked that.
Yeah.
So I did change, the pattern does recommend that you go up a size needle from as you're knitting the cats. So I knit the body of my socks on a size 1, and then the cats I went up to a size 2. There are some rows in between. I didn't switch back down to a size 1. I just kept knitting. I switched to a 1 for the heel and the toe, but for the whole duration of where the cats are, even on those solid rows, it's just on size 2 needles.
So the cuff, the heel, and the toe are all on 1s, and then the rest are on 2s.
Yeah, she recommends in the pattern she has a recommendation of going either up a half or a full needle size. I found I needed the full needle size to really make it comfortable to pull over your heel. But yeah, they're great. There was a comment on the last YouTube, and I did mention it because I was knitting these on shorties. I showed them in progress last time, and I used my shorties needles at least on the colorwork sections. And I do hold colorwork 1 in each hand, but the comment on YouTube, somebody was saying that they'd heard from the people who love shorties, they were hearing that it was a lot of throwers who seem to prefer the shorties. Okay. I don't know. I don't know if there's a poll that's ever been done. That would be amazing. But I am primarily a continental knitter, and I still love my shorties. So I just wanted to put that out there. I did respond to that comment, but I think that they're great. And we do have some shorty sets that are just single size needles, so that if you just want to try them without buying a whole set and seeing if you like them, I think that they're great for small circumference knitting, hats, sleeves, colorwork socks. Yeah. I just think they're fantastic.
Well, and the shorty sets we have 2 2-inch tips and 2 3-inch tips, and then 2, I think it's a 5-inch cable. So, and then there's a little chart on the back that says, if you use a 2-inch, both of the 2-inch tips and the cable, you get a 9-inch circular. But you could use 1 2 and 1 3 and then get a 10-inch, or you can use both 3, so you can mix and match your tips to get different lengths from everything from a 9 to I think a 12 maybe.
Yeah, I've found when I'm using them for sleeves, I'll start with the 3-inch tips, and then as I decrease down, I'll switch one side first to a 2-inch tip. And then eventually I end on both the 2-inch tips. Yeah. And I find the 3-inch and the 2-inch really comfortable to knit on. Nice. So just thought I'd mention that since there was that comment. I did bring more sock knitting.
Ooh, okay.
These are deep stash socks, but I started them in July when I was on vacation. Our sock sprint started mid-July. And so I needed some sock going at the beginning of the month because that's what's happening at my house is lots of sock knitting. So I pulled out some deep stash yarn. I think this is Dream in Color.
Oh, nice.
And I knit sock number 1 for my husband. And then the sock sprint started and sock number 2 has been sitting since then. So I've started August by working on sock number 2 for him. So I'm on the heel flap now. The thing I did on this one, I kind of copied Corinne where she'd been, let's see, on the gusset, keeping that slip stitch pattern going. So I did that just to add a little reinforcement over the turn of the heel. Oh, nice. So I'm hoping that, I really like the look of it, and I'm hoping it'll give a little extra right there.
Yeah, I always love just the look of the heel flap when you're using a yarn that stripes. how it changes.
I know, I really like it.
Yeah, it's always just a fun, I
been
wonder
really...
how this is going to look.
Yeah. Even when I started knitting with this yarn, I'm like, I don't know what you're going to look like. But I'm really happy with it. My husband likes it. I'm having a bit of a green moment for myself. All of a sudden, everything on my needles is green.
See, I'm everything on mine has lately been salmon or pink or...
Yep. So. Well, and speaking of green, so I did pull out my Cruden vest. We had a vest count earlier this year. Did you bring your vest with you?
I did not bring my vest with me. My vest is actually having some surgery done to it.
Okay.
Well, okay, I'm performing surgery on it. I got it all the way done, like completely done, and tried it on, and I was like, this is too long. It's just a little too long. So with Maggie's help, I pinned it up to where I wanted it to be, and I cut the front part off. I unseamed the side up about that far and cut the bottom half off, or not the half, but the bottom several inches off, and picked up all the stitches and then reknit just the little ribbing. I decided I would try the ribbing. Okay. So I knit the ribbing. On the back, I'm trying something different, and I've cut out a section, and now I'm going to graft those, just the ribbing section. So yeah, so we'll see how it turns out, but the front is good right now, so. Well,
that's good. Yeah. I'm nowhere near done. So this is the Cruden vest, and the design, I'm using the designer colors. I've gotten lots of compliments on Instagram of like, I love your colors. They're Ysolda's colors. They're not my colors. But they are beautiful. I love how they're working up together. They're really, really nice. So I'm making slow progress. It's just slow going. I find it's a lot of stitches, and it takes me a while, but it's not a race. So I'm just kind of, I think Kelsey talked about this in a recent, knitting is not a race. And so I'm just kind of being kind to myself and creeping along.
Well, okay, so the way I think about that, it's kind of like how I think about playing golf. If I'm gonna pay X number of dollars to play a round of golf, then I'm gonna hit the goal as many times as I can to get my money's worth. You know, if I'm gonna spend X amount of money on yarn for a vest, or a sweater or whatever, then I'm gonna take my time, and it ends up being, you know, pennies per pennies per minute rather than dollars per minute of knitting. So yeah,
I totally agree. I think fingering weight is a great value. You get lots of knitting. If your goal is that you just want to knit, I mean, you're just gonna knit with lots of fingering weight yarn, and I have lots of fingering weight yarn, so it's good. I think I will wear the finished vest like crazy. It's really beautiful. I am getting closer to the underarm. I still have a number of inches to go though, because I don't want a cropped vest. So slow but steady progress. And I think that's it. That's all the knitting that I have. But as you can see, it's quite all green.
It is.
It's been a while since I've been through a green phase, but I have been through one before. All right. I think we should go to a segment.
Yes.
One of our contributors.
Let's see. Looks like we're going to go to Mary first. So we'll see what Mary has to say about being a 24-year-old knitter and showing us that it's not for old people. So yeah, so we'll be back in a little bit.
Hello everyone, my name's Mary Shae Broast. I am 25 years old and I live in Denver, Colorado. Today I'd like to share with you a few things I've been working on, as well as some things that I've knitted in the past that I've made mistakes in, and how I either fix them or not. So what I'm wearing is the Carp-Beth sweater by Davies. It is knit in Rauma Strikkegarn, which is their 3-ply. And it's actually held double, so it's a 6-ply, so it's extra thick and warm, which is great. It has a twisted stitch honeycomb pattern on the sleeves, which took a little bit to figure out. I had to kind of write out all the stitches in some graph paper. And once I figured it out, it was smooth sailing from there. The first thing I'd like to share with you, one of my whips, is the Fethaland cowl in the Fair Isle knitting book. So this is knit in Jamieson Spindrift, and it's very potato chippy. It's the first time I fully realized what that actually means, is working on this cowl. So this is how far I've gotten, and I love the colors. One thing that I do when I do color work, that I think I got a tip from one of the Shopcast videos, is putting stitch markers between each pattern repeat. And that's just super helpful. So that way if I make a mistake, I can just rip back to the marker and not have to rip out the whole thing. I also do this when I'm working with lace patterns, because I have a really hard time reading lace. So otherwise I feel like I have to like rip out the whole thing. And then my avocado stitch holders, love those. The second thing I am working on right now is the Sandport sweater by Ysolda. This is one of her newer patterns. So this one is a top-down sweater. It calls for a worsted weight yarn. I'm actually using Ullcentrum 2-ply. So it's a slightly thinner yarn than a worsted weight, but I sized up and I've been checking it as I go to make sure it still fits, and so far so good. But the green color is it's 3133. So they're dark green, and then this silvery gray color is their light gray, which is I think color 0102, I think. But yeah, this is very much at the beginning, but I'm gonna keep working on it. I love working with Ullcentrum 2-ply. They come in these big 100-gram skeins, and they're only like $16 a skein, so it kind of saves a lot of money, especially if you're working on a sweater. And their colors are fantastic, and they also have veg matter in there too, which is super fun. So highly recommend Ullcentrum. The next thing I'm going to share with you is my first color work project that I started in 2020. It is the Belfield hat by Ysolda. It's knit in Rauma Fennel, and I don't know if you can tell just by looking at this, but the stitches kind of lean a little bit, and then they also kind of look like they are in like really rigid columns with like space between. That is because I was knitting into the back loop the whole time, because I thought that's just what you're supposed to do. And it wasn't until I did a different hat pattern that it asked me to knit into the back loop to make a certain stitch. I was like, oh, I'm not supposed to do that. Okay. So I had to go on YouTube and figure out how to knit correctly. So I now know how to knit correctly. My stitches no longer lean, so that's good. When I was making this hat, I was knitting with one of these thimble things to hold both strands of yarn. The challenge with this was it got tangled every single row. And it was really frustrating. I had to detangle it every time I began a new row. But I found a new way of, or I taught myself a way to hold one strand in each hand. And Kristen Drysdale in her book, The Nordic Knitting Primer, teaches you how to do that in this book here. And she starts off with just learning how to knit in your non-dominant hand. So I had to teach myself how to throw, which took a little bit. And once I learned how to do that, my first color work project, I made the Henrietta hens. Because I'm like, well, they're a toy, it doesn't matter what happens with the color work. So that was good practice. And then what I made next was the, I think, Sterny slippers from the Nordic Knitting Primer. So these guys here, and they're knit in a Rauma Strikkegarn. And these are about 3 years old. I absolutely love them. I wear them every day in the winter. And they, like, you can maybe tell a little bit, they're a little worn on the bottom. Don't need to be darned yet. Probably will be another year or two before that's the case. But they've felted really nicely over time. And the pattern was super easy to follow. You do have to do a little purling on the heel, for color work, but it's not bad. It doesn't last very long. And then the rest is just knitting in the round for the foot. I actually made everyone in my family a pair of slippers for Christmas this past year. Kristen Drysdale has a whole bunch of different patterns. She explains the meaning behind the different symbols in there, how they relate to different members of her family, or like different Nordic traditions and different virtues, flowers, stories, myths. So it was really neat to learn the history of those patterns, as well as like the history of just the yarn itself. And they made great Christmas gifts. And I just don't recommend starting after December 1st because you won't finish in time, but that's okay. The next thing I'd like to share with you is the Lars Dater sweater by Kristen Drysdale. As you can probably tell, the yoke is ginormous compared to the rest of it. That is because I knit at a looser gauge for the yoke because I was concerned that with the color work I did knit too tight and then the yoke would be too tight. Fortunately, that does not happen with me when I knit color work. It doesn't get too tight. So yeah, the yoke's a little big, but because it's knit in Lettlopi, it's more of a coat. So it's supposed to be a little bigger, so I'm not going to rip it out. I've worn this in Breckenridge in the middle of December and didn't need anything else over it. It's that warm, which is phenomenal. Okay, 2 more things. With the sweater cowl coming up, I'm going to be knitting, I can't decide between 2, I might be knitting 2, we'll see. I'm going to be knitting the Burthurf sweater by Corinne Johnson. This is in her Shetland Trader book 2. So this is J&S 2-ply, and I'm going to be using the coveted 81 colorway, which is a lovely dark gray. And then I'm going to be using some yarn from my stash, which is my goal this year, is to knit through my stash, in these 3 colors for the stripes in the sweater. So that's one of the things I'll be working on. And then the last thing is the Pumpkin Ale sweater by Ysolda. This has beautiful cables on the back, and it's an open cardigan in the front, so no buttons. It has pockets, and it's in this beautiful orange color, and I've been looking for years for a yarn that would work really well with this sweater, and I finally found one. It is Studio Donegal Darny in the Fox and Cubs colorway. It is a beautiful orange. It's showing a little lighter on the screen, I think, than it is in real life, but it has flecks of blue and yellow in it. So it's a little tweedy, which is really fun. So hoping this can become the Pumpkin Ale sweater before fall is over. Yeah, love this yarn to work with. And that's all I have to share with you. If you go out, take your knitting.
Thank you so much, Mary. We're delighted. If you would like to be a contributor to the Shopcast, there is a link on our website under the Connect button where you can fill out the form and submit your entry. We would love to have you as part of our Shopcast. So if you're interested in doing a video, please go there and find out more information. And once again, thank you so much, Mary, for your contribution. Yes. With our upcoming sweater cowl, we do have a couple of books that really highlight sweaters. So if you're in the market for some new patterns or a pattern collection, I think a book is a great way to go.
Yeah.
Jill has a copy there of
we have Marie Wall and Aaron. Just got it back in stock again. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is a great way where, you know, Maggie is doing her very intricate fingering weight sweater. Mm-hmm. These are all really beautiful, mostly color work, but there are some solid, like this Bamberg here is my favorite solid color. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of really pretty, kind of intricate color work, but it's all in Marie Wall and Aaron yarn, which is like a US worsted weight. Yeah. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. You've got beautiful color work, but also larger needles, yeah, faster knitting. So yeah, so we've got that one in stock right now. We have all the yarn in all the colors to make any of these beautiful sweaters in here.
We do have kits available in the shop. This particular kit is for the Seton sweater. So you can see you get all this yarn that you need for each kit.
The Seton is the color, the cover sweater.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that's some beautiful.
I was watching the Knitting Jungle podcast, and she just finished her Seton, and she had it on, and it looked amazing. Mm-hmm. It just looks really wonderful. It's really fun. You can, even though the collection and the book just released earlier this year, people are already done with some of their. So I think some of that is that some people are very fast knitters, but also I think the knits go faster because it is a worsted weight yarn.
Yeah, and I think too with all of these different motifs on here, it encourages you to keep going because you finish one and you're like, oh, well, the next one is only 6 rows.
Yeah.
I can do 6 rows. And, you know, it kind of keeps you moving. So.
I would think it would be potato chippy. My sister is knitting the Swaledale scarf from Marie Wallen, and I think she's really enjoying just getting through the sections. It'll take her a while, but it's good. It's good knitting. So there's that. There's that. We've also brought back, this is not really a sweater book, but we have brought back In the Footsteps of Sheep, which is a wonderful book about a knitter's journey through Scotland, walking through. This has been a shop favorite, and we brought it back. So these copies of this are available. I knit a pair of socks out of here once, and they were just really wonderful. So it is a mix of story and patterns. It's a really delightful book.
I got that book for Mother's Day this year.
Oh, did you?
Yep, I got that and The Lost Flock. So.
Oh, nice. Those are great together.
Yeah. So
nice.
It was a fun little surprise.
Is there anything that's sort of like your favorite bit in here, or
not yet?
Not
like
yet.
I've perused through it and but yeah.
It's a great book. For the sweater cowl, the other book that we have, I think it's currently out of stock in the shop, but it is called My Fair Isle Journey. It was published by Amirisu and written by Yuko Sakamoto. This book is fantastic. I think this is my sweater cowl knit, so I probably won't finish it during the sweater cowl, but I will cast on. But there are lots of amazing patterns in here. There's a really pretty, again, me and my green at the moment, but I love this vest. I thought about knitting that for the cowl, but I think instead I'm actually going to knit this. So
which yarn are you going to use?
So I'm going to use J&S. The nice thing is I'm hoping that the gauge for this is really similar to my Cruden vest, because then I won't have to swatch. So fingers crossed there. I'll check the gauge and I'll double check before I, you know, get started. But any longtime viewers will know that I love J&S color 81. And I have a cone of it that I've been saving for I don't know what. But I think it's going to be this. I think 81 will be my primary color.
I've heard you talk about using 81 for several different things.
I know. And
I don't think you're actually going to use it.
No,
I just like to talk about using it.
I am. I know. I'm going to use it this time. I had swatched for the Cruden vest, and I just didn't have my time. I didn't have it together to figure out the contrast colors. So I just went with Ysolda's colors since I love those. But I think too, like, I think I'm going to aim for a really similar color palette to this. Although I think when you read what color she uses, I don't know that it is a dark green. I think it's actually a dark blue that photographed different. But either way, I'm using 81 for the main color. There's no way I'm going to finish it in time, but I'll have fun trying.
Nice.
So there's that.
Yeah. You mentioned the book being out of stock. If you go on our website, there's a little button that you can click that says notify me when available. Yeah. So if that's a book that you're interested in, click on the little button and you'll put your email address in there and you'll get an email when we have those again that you can place an order. Yeah. And we do have them on order, so hopefully they'll be back in stock very soon. And you won't have to wait long. Yep. Okay. So great. We also have a bunch of, you know what's back in stock? The Knit This book. So yeah, so we got Knit This back in stock. It is a beautiful, it's 21 designs. There are sweaters, there are hats, there are mittens, there's all sorts of things. But I know some of you have seen Renee that was here a few weeks ago. Her sweater that she finished in literally a weekend is in here, and it's called the Stay Up Till Dawn, I believe. No, I can't find it. There it is. Yeah, Stay Up Till Dawn sweater. So that one is a particular nice one that's knit with a bulky weight yarn. So I know Renee did hers with Rauma Vams and Rauma Plum held together. Yeah. And it's a fantastic, she just posted a picture of it yesterday. Yeah. We can put a picture here of Renee in her sweater. Yeah, it is absolutely beautiful. She called it a fancy sweatshirt. Yeah. So yeah. I was happy that when I was on vacation, Renee was here. I wasn't happy about that. But I was happy that I got back in time before she went home, that I could see her in person and say hello, and I was able to see her sweater, and it is really, really cozy. But yeah, now I'm looking at this ivy sweater. I think it's just beautiful. Yeah. Like there are a lot of sweaters in here that you could hold, you know, the mohair with and just get a really nice fluffy, fluffy pretty. So yeah, so we do have these back in stock, and not only is it a great book, it's a beautiful book. Like the photography is beautiful. It feels nice in your hand. It's just a good.
Yeah.
So,
we've been really pleased. We've just started carrying some of the books from Cozy Publishing. They published Sorry Norland's book, which we also have in stock, and Lakeside Stitches, which they all have. They're all beautifully put together.
There's a ribbon bookmark in here. You know, it's like it's a
I know.
For a book nerd, it's just kind of a fun,
I know.
you know?
Yes, I'm also a fellow book nerd.
Yeah.
Our bookshelf here is very tempting.
Yeah.
Many of them come home with me.
Same.
Yeah.
So we're going to see what Caitlin took to the Indiana State Fair. I'm hoping to maybe see a tenderloin or two or something like that on the, also all those things that Indiana is famous for. I lived in Indiana for 28 years before moving overseas for a few years and then here. So
nice.
Yeah, Indiana's got a spot in my heart. So yeah, so we'll see what Caitlin's going to show us with her FO and her Indiana State Fair submissions, and then we'll be right back with more sweater cowl and sweater yarn sets. So see you soon.
Hi everybody, it's Caitlin coming to you from my home in Indianapolis, Indiana. I work remotely for the Woolly Thistle and happy to be here again this month to show you what I've been knitting and catch you up on some stuff. So I have my finished vest to talk about, a project that has been in the works and has some issues. And then I also want to take you around to the Indiana State Fair knitting competition entries. I did this last year and enjoyed it so much, entering a few pieces, that I've done it again and have yet to actually go and visit. I will film that tomorrow, but you'll have it all packaged together in this episode by the time it airs. So yeah, first of all, I'm wearing my finished vest from our vest knit along, which wrapped up a month or so ago now. And I didn't finish mine in the timeline, but do have it done now. And I'm really happy with it. So happy to show you the finished product here. I'll stand up for you. This is the Island to Island vest by Mary Jane Mucklestone. It is in the Grand Shetland Adventure Knits book that Mary Jane and Gudrun Johnston wrote together with Line of Publishing. And mine is made in Rauma Fennel and Jamieson and Smith 2-ply jumper weight. I've talked about it before as it was in progress on the last Shopcast, so if you need color numbers and everything, that's there. Or in the show notes, I think there'll be a link to my Ravelry project, which has it there too. So yeah, the dark grayish, almost blackish navy, it's a hard color to explain and capture. That's Fennelgarn, as is the lightest color pink. And then this darker salmon color and this peach are Jamieson and Smith 2-ply jumper weight. Yeah, so this sweater was knitted starting at the bottom and then up to the armholes where you start some steeks. And this was kind of the reason why I picked this project. I thought about doing a bulkier weight, one color slip over style vest, which may have fit better in my schedule and kind of abilities for the time that the vest cowl was happening, but decided to go for more of a fingering weight, all over colorwork steeked thing, which was more of a learning experience. And even though I didn't finish in time, I had a lot of fun with it. So we'll put a picture here of what it looked like before I steeked the armholes and the neckline, because this also has a steek. I've always had a hard time imagining how the steeks would actually work on this type of a piece. With a cardigan, it makes sense that you just like slice it straight down the middle. But with the whole like decreases and shaping and stuff, you kind of had to see it to understand, or at least I did. And I really love how it turned out. I think the steek actually went really well. And I want to take it off to show you what it looks like on the inside, because kind of proud of how it looks. So I went for a crocheted reinforcement. I didn't technically have to really reinforce, but I did just to feel better about it. So if you can imagine these two neckline pieces were attached at one point, and then I sliced those, and then these two sides of the armhole were also attached at one point, and I sliced that. So yeah, the raw edges here, you can see there's really no unraveling or anything. It feels really solid in here, and I'm just surprised by how clean it looks even on the inside. It doesn't feel too bulky. It yeah, just really happy with the whole steeking process. The reason why there's steeks in a project like this is because it's much easier to knit collar work in the round while you continue to look at the right side the entire time than it is to knit across the front of the color work and then purl across the back if you're trying to do it flat. There was only 4 rows of flat color work knitting on the top of each shoulder as you're kind of finishing that off. So there were 4 rows here, 4 rows here, and then 4 rows on the front and the back of this other shoulder. And that was enough to help me appreciate having done the steeks instead of knitting the whole thing back and forth. Basically from here, in a lot of designs, you would have to knit the front separately from the back, but by doing the steeks around the armholes, you can avoid that. I think what was hardest for me was, I mean, it's awkward enough to try to figure out how to hold 2 colors on the back side and purl them, but also it was just hard not seeing the pattern emerging because I relied so much on the rest of it. I didn't look at the chart at all. I just looked at the previous row, and it's an easy enough, simple enough pattern. You can just sort of see what needs to happen next. But with the back side, it was hard. So yeah, then at the end, after you've cut the steeks, then you do the ribbing on the arms and the neck. Yeah, I think Corinne has also done something very similar with her Flowers of Fort Rose vest, and is hopefully getting some sort of a steeking demo together. She tried on the last vest that she just finished, but I think she needs to re-record. So stay tuned for more on vest steeking. The next thing I have to show you is the project I've been knitting on. I had to get an extra ball of the dark color for that, so while I was waiting, I cast on something else. And it's a project I've really wanted to knit for quite a while. It's from the Knitted Kalevala book, and it is one of the beautiful colorwork sweaters. I'll kind of hold to this side here. This is the Pohjolanito sweater. They're all influenced or based on stories from the Kalevala, which is the Finnish national epic. So yeah, all named for different events and characters and things in those stories. The original calls for Tuku Wool DK, which is a yarn that we carry at the Woolly Thistle, but when I was at Wool and Folk last year, I picked up enough skeins from this vendor, Distil Fink Fibers, which is not a yarn that we carry. I would definitely really enjoy this project in the Tuku Wool DK original as well, and there's such pretty colors to play with there. But I had that pattern in mind, and that yarn just seemed to want to become this. Although, here's what I have so far. I'm loving it. I think it's beautiful. The yarn is fun. The pattern's been fun. A little bit challenging with some long floats, but I think it's turned out nicely. I really like the colors I've got, kind of a navy and a gray, and then this green. It's going to be the rest of the body. But I'm learning the hard way for the second time. Hopefully I have actually learned. I didn't pick the right size. And the raglan is too steep. It's not going to be wide enough to accommodate my shoulders. It will if I wear it up like this, but then I get this funny funnel neck thing going on. I have blocked this both steam blocked and then more aggressively with an actual blocking, and it is not gonna fit the way I want it to. So it's in timeout right now as I figure out, do I keep going and do I chop off the neck and just do like an I-cord neck? But I think that is going to mean that the short rows in the back also get chopped off, and then it might fit funny. I think what I have to do is pull it out. And here is the reason why I think this hasn't gone well. The pattern calls for about 10 inches of positive ease, which is more than I tend to like in a project. And I think that it was maybe written assuming you were making a size that much bigger than your own chest size, that the neckline should be starting out wide enough, if it were, you know, this wide on both sides, that it's okay for such a steep raglan if it's going almost like straight down to your armpit. But because I didn't want that much positive ease, I chose a smaller size. On top of that, my gauge is a little smaller than the original. On paper, it looks like the chart, or the circumference around the chest would be about how I like a sweater to fit, but the whole proportions of the sweater up top are not, they're not working out. So I need to knit a bigger size, and then I'm considering what that means for then, like, once I split for the armholes, and if I can get it down to a size with about the amount of ease that I tend to like in a sweater fit. So anyway, that's that. Stay tuned to see what I end up doing with that. I think that's all I had to show here. So now we're gonna go over to my little narrating of the tour of the state fair. We're at the Indiana State Fair here today. I'm going to take you around to the knitted and crocheted entries for this year. Here are quite a few Afghans and crocheted items, maybe some baby things. This year's theme was something to do with arts and nature, so quite a few items in that specific category for that theme. Over here, there's some really cute knitted and crocheted toys, beautiful stocking. I don't see any motion, friends, but I did want to zoom in on some of these socks. I think there may be a Main Island sock from Mary O'Shea's pattern. That's one of the kits we carry in Rambler. I submitted a couple of colorwork hats. There's the cake fridge hat from Gudrun Johnston in the Grand Shetland Adventure Knits book, and the Transatlantic Tam. That's by Virginia Sattler Reimer. They both got an honorable mention. The first place there that I'm pointing to is the Buggy Fleur beanie. I'm not sure who submitted that, but would love to know. Again, lots of pretty Afghans. Spark Cardigan is one that I entered. It was my 2023 Rhinebeck sweater and one I did for the Cowl last year, the sweater knit along, and I used some of my hand spun and Wool Dreamers Moda. Was just tickled to see that I got a blue ribbon. There were some really nice finishing details on that pattern. There's also a really beautiful vest behind there. I don't recognize which pattern it was, but a button-down vest. I wish you could read the backs of all the tags here to learn more about the knitter and the pattern. This is a beautiful Lettlopi sweater. I think it's a Jennifer Steingast, but can't say for sure. Someone will know it and be able to say, maybe in the comments. So there's many different categories you can submit to. Here's some more beautiful colorwork accessories. Yeah, there's colorwork accessories, colorwork garments, sleeved, non-sleeved, all kinds of, you know, cables and lace. There's a category for your own original designs. Just always so fun to see people's colors and yarns and pattern choices, and just to imagine the knitters who've made all these things. Here I had submitted my vanilla sweater as well. That one didn't place. I will find out in the judging card when I get that handed back. I think I might have submitted it to the wrong category, but I also noticed a Dana sweater from Marie Wallen's Shetland book, and just some other really intriguing pieces. So very fun to take a tour here. Another beautiful colorwork sweater. I don't know the name or origin of this one. Very pretty. I did also submit the shawl that I made for this year's shawl knit along in the spring. This was a self designed mosaic knitting with some Jagger spun wool yarns. So I had a really fun time touring this year's Indiana State Fair. If you have submitted anything to your fair, let us know in the comments. If you go to your local fair and check out the submitted items there, let us know. And we'll see you next time. Enjoy the rest of the Shopcast. Bye.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. I cannot wait to see how she did at the State Fair.
I know.
That was a lot of fun last year, so I'm looking forward to watching.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of things before we get started. We have a Facebook Live where we'll show off sweater kits. That recording is on YouTube if you'd like to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to show you some sweater kits coming soon, so there may be some overlap, but I think we're always entertaining. So
yeah, we hope so. We try.
Yeah. So if you missed that and you want to check it out, you can find that on our YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm. But if you want to make sure that you don't miss those live and be able to comment live, make sure to join our Facebook group. It's 23,000 really friendly people. Yeah. You know,
yeah, I like to tell people it's the friendliest place on Facebook by far. It is a fantastic community filled with encouraging, welcoming, warm knitters and crocheters.
I mean, it's kind of funny. The town that we moved from in Indiana had about 23,000 people. And I think what it would be like to live in a town where everybody was a fan of knitting.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and we're nice about it.
It is. It's really a great community. We also have a vibrant and engaged Ravelry group.
Mm-hmm.
So if Ravelry is the place where you like to hang out, be sure to check out our group. Everybody there is also very welcoming,
mm-hmm.
and we're always posting links in both places. So yeah.
And you don't often find, there's not a whole lot of crossover. So
yeah.
If you are in both places, you're going to see lots of different things in different places. So
mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the conversations, just the way the platforms are, it just lends itself to different types of conversations.
Yeah.
Next week, we won't have an episode. There are 5 Fridays in August, and we need a little bit of a break after the shop hop. So there won't be an episode next Friday, but we'll be back after that. If you're posting on social media, please use our new Take Your Knitting hashtag and show us your TWT knits in the world as you are out and traveling or just out around town.
Mm-hmm.
We love seeing your whips always. So you can use the Take Your Knitting hashtag. You can also always use the hashtag thewoollythistle, and we will see that as well. Mm-hmm. Our shipping rates. Right now we have $4.95 shipping. Up to $99, and then after $99 you get free shipping on all your orders.
On all your U.S. orders.
On all your U.S. orders. That is extremely important.
Yes. Because as much as, we
would love to offer that, but we can't. So U.S. orders only, $4.95 up to $99, and then it's free. Let's show some sweater kits.
All right.
Or talk sweater knitting.
Okay.
I do want to point out that our sweater cowl is open for every level of knitter and crocheter. We do have an abundance of knitting kits here. Mm-hmm. But if you're an avid crocheter, you are welcome to join us for the cowl and crochet your sweaters. We do have crocheters. I know Ruth, who works here and is an avid crocheter, I'm hoping that she'll be joining us in crocheting a sweater. Yeah. All our yarns can be used for crochet.
So while we print it Cal, K-A-L, we say cowl, meaning K or C-A-L. So,
yeah, for sure.
All right. So the first one we're looking at is the Tunalan birthday.
Yes.
Of course, I picked one that we can't pronounce.
So,
but, you know.
a knitted Kalevala, we can put a picture here. Knitted Kalevala 2, I believe releases today at time of airing. And we have put together some kits for the designs in that book. Mm-hmm. Knitted Kalevala 1 and Kalevala 2 have so many amazing patterns in them. But the designer, Jenna Kostet, is Finnish, I believe.
I think so.
If I'm wrong, we can put it here.
Oh, yeah.
And so the names of the sweaters are a little challenging to say. I was writing them out and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to say that on the air other than messing it up. So we will also put the names on the screen so that when we butcher them, you can still find them in the shop because they are amazing sweaters. So these are 2 colorways. The designer colorway for the Tuon the Land Berta uses a Lettlopi color 52 and 1418. 52 is probably hard to see, but it is a really deep chocolatey brown.
Yeah, is that what people would call sheep black?
Yeah, it's like a natural. I'm gonna make a crinkly noise because I think it's worth it to kind of hold it up where it is. It's like a really deep brown.
Yeah.
And it's really beautiful. And then I couldn't help but put together an alternate colorway where deep blue, nice navy blue, and a light blue.
So yeah, those would be great with, you know, your jeans or your khaki pants or your olive pants or or your white pants. So
yeah, there's just so many great ways to wear it. But so a couple of new Lettlopi kits.
Yep.
And actually, if you want to grab, there's also from Knitted Kalevala 2. I believe the name of it's on there.
This is the Haydn Herven. Sure, that's what it is.
Yes. We can put a picture of the design up there too so that you can see it. And these are the designer's colorways in the book.
Yeah, so this one again, you know what, I'm going to make a little crinkle too, sorry. This green or blue, whatever color you want to call it, is just beautiful. It's this really dark, it's still not showing up very well. It's this kind of a dark bottle green sort of color. And yeah, it's beautiful.
I think they actually call that color bottle green.
Is this from bottle green?
It might be, yeah.
Yeah, so it's beautiful.
It is.
So, yeah.
And then we have one alternate colorway. I kind of couldn't resist this really bright fuchsia.
Oh, yeah.
I think it would look really pretty in this colorway.
Yep, looks great.
And then we have one more kit from Kalevala 2. If you're looking for a chunky knit, this might be it. It uses Alaphos Lopi, so as you can see, I had to pack it in like 2 different bags because they just wouldn't all fit in. So you'll get, the main color is the cream. Just look at that.
Oh, yeah.
And then it uses green in the contrast. We can put a photo of the design there. But Alaphos Lopi is a bulky weight yarn, so this will knit up so fast.
Yeah. I did have somebody send an email question about Knitted Kalevala 1. I guess a lot of the sweaters were knit bottom up. And then this customer wanted to know, was Kalevala 2 also that way? And I looked, and there's a healthy mix. There are actually quite a few top-down sweaters in this one. There's top-down. There are a few bottom-up, but I think it's probably 50-50.
Great.
So yeah, so if you're a little bit nervous of doing a bottom-up, like I am, that's not my jam. I'm a little afraid. There are plenty of options for top downs too. So
I think a sweater cowl though is always an opportunity of, if you're feeling a little more bold or you want to try something new like a bottom up, you'll have an amazing community to offer any tips and tricks all along the way. So but the patterns, you can find the pattern descriptions on Ravelry. They're not available for purchase on Ravelry because they're only in the book, but you can find the descriptions on Ravelry. So if you want to know the details of, you know, is it steeked or is it, we try to include some of that on the product information, but the Ravelry page does have a bit more information. So you can check there too. You can always shoot us an email if you have a question too that you can't find the answer to. We're happy to help. Jill is happy to help.
I'm a little slower helping the last couple weeks with the shop hop going on, but I'm still trying to keep my head above water. So.
Yeah, you're doing a great job.
Trying.
So those are our kits from Knitted Kalevala 2. That book does release today. And so if you had purchased your kit earlier, we can combine your orders if you want to send us an email, and things should be shipping soon. So these are great. I'm very excited about these.
Yes. All right, let's look at some sauna things.
Okay. So these are kits for the Lakes V-neck sweater from Ozetta. I'm going to leave a minute so you can see a photo of it. We do have a kit for the colorway of the designer colors. We were a little low in stock on Fratelli, so it may be out of, that colorway may be out of stock by the time you're seeing this, but we have put together a couple of alternate colorways too, including the one that you're holding, which I think looks really, really pretty.
Yeah, so this is sauna and a strand of Biche Bouche silk and mohair, or mohair and silk. So yeah, so you're gonna get a lovely a little halo fluff along with all this lovely wool. So yeah.
And this colorway uses the sauna in a green color along with a cream color Biche Bouche mohair and silk. The it looks like a sweatshirt. It just looks like a really cozy. It is knit holding 2 strands of sauna together with the mohair. So you will be holding 3 strands together, but the results look amazing.
Well, okay, and I talked to somebody just a couple days ago that they were a little nervous about holding 2 strands of yarn together.
Okay.
And holding the 3, well, yeah, you've got a little bit more going on in your hand. It's more forgiving than knitting a single strand, because if you happen to drop one of those strands, it can't run anywhere. Like it's not like a drop stitch of its own, because once it gets to the next row, it can't go any further because it's already locked in the row below. So just as a little reminder,
yeah,
don't be afraid of it, because it's forgiving.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So those are available now.
Oh, Darnie. My heart belongs to Darnie. So this is for the Polma sweater.
Actually, I think that's Polina. My writing is not great.
Sorry. This is Polina sweater. Using 2 colors of Darnie. And yeah, it's a beautiful color work. It's color work body. It's like a yoke that has it's like a very deep yoke.
Yeah. You'll see in the photo here. It's a really unique style yoke. I think it looks really pretty and like fun to knit.
Yeah. A friend of mine in Switzerland recently was knitting it just for the fun of it. Yeah. And it's beautiful. Like just beautiful.
Yeah.
So
it looks like a fantastic knit. So we've put together a couple of different colorways.
Yep. There's this great turquoise and kind of a gold color, like an old gold.
I thought of you when I put that colorway together.
I like it, yeah.
And then charcoal as the main color with a nice green. And I love this one. I don't know that I could wear this one, but a nice vibrant orange with a beige.
Yeah,
that would be so pretty.
That orange is called Fox and Pups, I believe. And it's just, yeah, I love it just for the name.
It's just really great. It's a nice tweedy yarn. It gives a great effect.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot of fun to knit.
Yep. So, and can confirm, it's a great yarn to knit with. Like super fun. So, yeah.
I do want to mention on the model behind Jill, we have our vanilla sweater kit that is Corinne's design.
There we go.
So vanilla sweater kits are available in the shop. If you are a new sweater knitter and you're looking for something that's easy to wear, gauge is forgiving, sizing is forgiving, the vanilla sweater I think is a great pattern.
Goes up to a 60, is it 60 inch?
I think so.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, so an inclusive size range. We also have, if you like a little bit of mohair, we have the vanilla fluff as well. This is mine. I knitted a few years ago, so I've got a couple of pills on it, but I wear this a lot in the winter. It's a great sweater, either just wearing, you know, as a crew neck sweater or throwing it over a button-down shirt. It's so cozy.
Yeah. So the vanilla sweater is knit, the body is knit with a size 6 needle with your the cuffs and ribbing on a size 4. Where the fluff is a 6 and an 8. Yeah. So you've got that extra strand, so it's a little bit looser gauge. And, yeah.
And this one, it flew off the needles. So
yeah.
Don't let, I know the vanilla sweater, sometimes new knitters are like, but it's a fingering weight, but it's knitted a very loose gauge. So it goes very fast.
Yep. Vanilla sweater is 3/4 length sleeves. The fluff is full length sleeves.
Yeah, so and the fluff, the sleeves are a bit more tapered than the pattern recommends on the vanilla. You could certainly taper them yourselves. Tina, who works here, her first sweater was the vanilla sweater, and she wanted long sleeves, so she just lengthened the sleeve and she actually tapered them. I love that. When I knit my first sweater, I didn't make any changes, and I made some gauge issues. But anyway, I made lots of mistakes. But that's okay. So I just wanted to mention that we often forget to mention what's on the bouncers. So if you're new to sweater knitting, look at the vanilla sweater.
Yeah, and remember, if you know how to knit and you know how to purl, there's nothing that you can't knit. So yeah, because it's all just knits and purls.
Yeah, and the vanilla sweater also has a course. So if you're looking for a little video support, the course is also available in the shop.
Yep. So great.
Let's talk about the Melby.
Oh, okay.
So I'm pretty excited about this. The Melby sweater is a Melby yoke, excuse me, is a new design. I'm gonna put a photo here from Gudrun Johnston. And right now we have kits available in the shop that come with everything you need, including a download of the pattern. This is really exciting. I really like this. I think right now we exclusively have kits in the shop. The pattern is available on Ravelry, but as I said, our kits will come with the pattern. And you get all the yarn that you need. Both colorways were put together by Gudrun. This one has Prussian as the main color, which is a really deep blue.
This one is it Esset or Eset?
I don't know. I always say Eset.
Okay.
But I could be wrong.
So Eset, which is a nice oatmeal brown color, or oatmeal, kind of a creamy oatmeal. So yeah.
Yeah. So it's a really beautiful design. It's been fun to work with Gudrun.
Yeah, very fun.
So we have a limited stock of kits. So if this is a design that you're really eager to knit very soon, and in time for the cowl, don't wait.
Yeah. Because there will not be a back in stock button for this one, I don't believe.
We'll probably try to restock it, but I don't think we'll be able to restock it before the cowl starts. So if you're seeing this design and you'd really like to knit it for the cowl, go quickly.
So yeah, don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh, red. Yeah. Oh, this one's fun.
Oh yeah. Can you reach through your arms long enough?
I can.
Okay.
I think I can.
I'm gonna let you say the name since.
All right. So this sweater is the Talvinen from Caitlin Hunter. I really like this design. It has you can see the photo. It has a lovely little color, a lovely color work bird. It's quite striking. Oh, nice. This colorway, there is a slight alteration. We've subbed out soft orange brown for the color that Caitlin used in her design. And then it goes with the turquoise. So I think it'll give you a really similar look. It just looks like a lightweight, easy to wear sweater.
So this one is really pretty. It's a blue-green with an orange-red and then the natural up here. So yeah, it's really pretty.
And then I like this one too. It has a soft blue-black as the main color with a spring green and beige. So I think that'll also look amazing.
It looks very nautical to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
And I think the last, do we have two more?
Maybe the, well, we are limited in supply at the moment on the Recursion sweater from Kim Paquette, but we wanted to show it. It's knit in our House Yarn Rambler, so if you want to knit this for the cowl, I would also hurry on this one. Right now we're well stocked in the natural, but the Golden Fern's getting low and we're waiting for a new spin, and that just takes time. So Recursion kits are in the shop. And it's just a fun design. Yeah,
it is. It's fascinating to me when you look at it that it's just the two colors, because with the solid color parts of the contrast mixing with the the mixed up colors, not mixed up, but like the alternating, how much of a difference it looks.
It looks like a very not only is the yoke really interesting, I love the folded collar. It just gives such a nice clean look.
Yeah. And last but not least, and absolutely not the last we have, just the last we're showing today, is the White Russian.
From Theo Coleman. Yeah.
So this one uses Rosario Brusco.
It's just a lovely textured sweater. I think the pattern does look like maybe it's a little cropped, so if you're going to want to make it a little longer, I would throw in at least one extra ball there. I do know offhand that the designer color shown in her photos is actually discontinued from Retrosaria. So we've put together a couple of color options that we think are really beautiful, because although that color is discontinued, the design is still gorgeous. We do have a color in a kit that's very close, but it's not the exact same color. So
yeah, so we have a really pretty kind of a soft muted pink, I guess.
Like a salmon-y color.
Yeah,
almost.
yeah.
And this one is more of like a
mossy green.
Yeah, mossy green, kind of a yellowy green. It's color C579.
So, and this one is color A583. So, yeah.
Yeah, and as Jill said, there are lots of other kits available in the shop.
I think when I looked this morning, there was maybe 80 some. So
yeah. So this is just a small sampling. And then in addition to that, if you have a different pattern in mind, you're always welcome to buy by the ball too. If you need any help at all with color selection, just shoot us an email and we will help you.
Yep.
We do have a few new things launching in the shop today that at time of recording aren't here, but are still exciting enough that we want you to know about. Scottish Yarn Festival is restocked, and it's restocked with two new colors in an Aran weight, which is brand new. And right now, it is available exclusively here, which is amazing.
Yes.
We'll put photos here because it's set to arrive any minute. Probably the guy's going to be knocking on our door when we're done recording, but at time of recording it's not here, but by the time you see this episode it will be available in the shop.
I'm really hoping to get some this time because I was living overseas the last two restocks. I was living overseas and I was like, I don't need it yet. I can let somebody else have it, and then I keep kicking myself that I didn't get it. And so I've been anxiously waiting. It's
a really gorgeous yarn, and this restock will include the 4-ply, the DK, and these two colors in Aran weight. So if you've been waiting for Scottish Yarn Festival, your wait is over. Also available on pre-order is a new book published by Lina called Memory Lane by Claudia Quintanilla. She is the owner of Unit Toronto, and this book includes knits with beautiful embellishments. You can put the cover there, and you can go and pre-order your copy today. Do you want to talk about that big red box you're holding?
I'd love to talk about this big red box I'm holding. This is the 12 Days of Cheer box, and I got my first 12 Days box last year.
Oh, nice!
And every day it was so much fun to have a new little thing to open. And this year's box, since I know what's going in it, it's exciting. But yeah, so this year we are partnering with Emma from A Woolly Mammoth to have 1 full-size skein and 5 mini skeins, and then 6 other fun little things. It's all vintage holiday themed, so it's not all, bright red, bright green, bright yellow. It's really
it's
nice.
That.
Yeah, no, it's not that at all. It's colors you'll be able to use year round. And yeah, so you'll have 12 fun things to open, along with a pattern suggestion card. And
the pattern suggestion card for this one is going to come sealed, just because it'll also list all the box contents, and so it'll have a bit of a warning on it that spoilers are in the included.
So you don't have to worry about opening up the box and having right on top. It'll be right on top. It'll be in an envelope. So, yeah.
And we'll put a reminder on it. I did get a couple of questions in email about the box that I think are worth mentioning here. A customer had emailed and asked if there are any redundancies. Is there anything in this year's box that was in last year's box? There's not. There's no duplicates from last year. So the yarn is, as you mentioned, it's Woolly Mammoth. It's her natural sock, which is a 50% Shetland, 50% Cheviot non-superwash yarn. Great for socks, but not just socks. It's a fingering weight yarn. You can knit whatever you'd like with it.
All of her dyes are natural dyes too, aren't they?
Yeah, everything is naturally dyed.
So yes.
And she also hand winds and then hand labels. So there's a lot of love and care in each and every box and skein.
Which also explains why we don't get shipments in every month from her, because it's just
this year's
possible.
Box is a really special box. So yeah, if you bought last year's box and you're on the fence, just know you won't. There's no duplicates. There are some Christmas season-y feeling items, but it's not. We tried to build the box so that it would have appeal to everyone. So even if you're not celebrating Christmas, that you would still find.
You're not going to get a gold star to put on the top of your Christmas tree. That's not going to be in this box.
Yeah.
So,
and if you have any other questions, you can let us know. Boxes are on pre-order and available right now, and they will ship in early November so that you will have time to open them when you are ready.
Yes, but unlike our other specialty boxes, we're not going to ever show you anything in here before. So it's going to be a surprise for everybody. So, yeah.
The other item launching in the shop today is Briggs & Little yarn. Yes, we are getting in their Heritage line and their Regal line in a limited selection of colors, and those are available in the shop today. If you are looking for an affordable workhorse yarn, this is it. It is a great yarn. We've been told by many of you for a long while now that you'd love to see Briggs & Little here, and we are happy to be offering it. Yeah. Unfortunately, at the time of recording, it's not here. So we'll be showing it in the next episode, but it is available in the shop now. We can put a couple of photos up from the colors. I'm really excited to see this yarn. I know Emma Barnaby, one of our contributors, has knit a number of sweaters, and over the years just going to different shows and meeting knitters and seeing them in their Briggs & Little knits, I'm excited to welcome.
I've been watching the color cards sitting on your desk
for
an unreasonably long time in my, you know, in my amount of, oh my gosh, when is this coming?
Yes, so, my desk often has yarn samples and things we're thinking about, and it's temptation every day.
Yeah,
temptation every day. All right, we still have one more prize winner. Do you want to announce that second prize?
Sure. Our second prize winner is at Wendy Barrington 5696, and Wendy says, I was in Shetland last spring. I'd love to live there. Thanks for the beautiful pictures. Wendy, I think there are lots of us that would enjoy, you know, maybe not full time. I see what the winter looks like there, and I don't think I'm cut out for that, but I could definitely spend a few months there. So yeah. But so Wendy, send us an email at info. I can't speak either. Send us an email to info@thewoollythistle and put prize winners in all caps, and I'll get you a $25 gift card sent right back to you. So
speaking of Shetland, this is a minor segue. On Disney Plus, there's a cute little documentary about a man who befriends an otter, and I have a thing for otters. I have a thing for otters, and so we watched that at our house, and my whole family ended up like coming into the room and watching, and my older kids were like, why don't we live in Shetland? And then it switched. All of a sudden you could see winter in Shetland, and my oldest was like, never mind. But it looks absolutely beautiful. I could probably take like 1 or 2 winters up there. I'd be willing to give it a try.
I hear about people. I mean, I think that's how Rachel ended up. She was, I want to say, working at a restaurant or something, and just kind of stayed. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but I think that's how it works. So yeah.
It looks like an amazing place. One day I'll get there. And yes, thank you to Ruth and her husband Ed for the amazing photos. If you missed them, you can pop back to the previous episode and check them out. Yeah. They are worth seeing. Yep. All right. I think that's it. I think we've made it to the end of our episode, Jill. Yay! I hope you've enjoyed watching.
And if you haven't, be nice in the comments, because we're trying the hardest. We're doing the best we can.
They're always nice in the comments. So thank you so much for being here with us. I think that all there's left to say is, if you go out,
take your knitting.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, Woolly Thistlers. It's Rachel from Barkland Croft, and here I am with Mary, Minnie Milk and Rosebud enjoying the beautiful Scottish summer weather. As you can see, I'm afraid for most of July we haven't really seen any improvement in the weather at all. It's just been more rain, more fog, really not good at all. I don't know if you can make it out, but there's a little swallow sitting on the fence there, and he was looking absolutely bedraggled. I felt so sorry for him, poor little thing. I did check on him about an hour later, and he'd gone, so hopefully he was okay. Thankfully, for most of the cruise ship visits that I've been down at the museum, the weather has stayed mostly dry, and it's been lovely to see some of the wildflowers along the verges. So these pink ones are called Ragged Robin, and there's some white clover there. And these purpley ones are some of my favourites. They just look so pretty in the verge, and these are called Common Vetch. Little River continues to do well. Here he is with his mum Brownie. And he's growing at a rate of knots too. And although they don't spend an awful lot of time together, it's been really nice to see River spending some time at least with Sparky. So there's Mum Brownie, not too far away. And he's starting to sort of copy Sparky as well. I think maybe he looks at him like an older brother, hopefully. And Sparky has found an ingenious way to carry on snacking on the grass and avoid getting wet. And with the cold and wet weather continuing, this is the first time that I've ever had to order coal in July. Although the days haven't been particularly nice weather-wise, we have had a few evenings where the skies have completely cleared and it's been absolutely beautiful. This was on the 10th of July and as you can see I have managed to clip some of the sheep, but at this point I still don't even have a third of them clipped. And they're pretty cross with me for taking their fleeces when the weather's been so cold and wet. I think they want them back on. Here are some faces you might recognise. Here's Curly Whirly. He was one of my very first caddies. That's a hand-reared lamb, and that's Minnie Milk. He was one of last year's caddies. And here's Mungo. So Curly Whirly and Minnie Milk are both pure Shetlands, and Mungo is a Shetland Texel cross. That's why he's so much bigger. And here's our beautiful Butterscotch. Bless her, she's an old girl now and she's lost a couple of her teeth, but still just as beautiful and smiley. Here we've got little Miss Teddy Bear and her grandson Seraph. And you might remember Seraph is our lovely Blossom's lamb, although not really a lamb anymore. On the 12th of July, we had a really wonderful treat as two visiting musicians, Alison and Hunt Smith from Maine in the USA, were visiting Fair Isle for a few days and gave us a concert and dance. They also invited local musicians to sit in and join in. So here you've got Neil Thompson on guitar. That's his daughter Eileen on the flute. And just coming in now, this is Stuart Thompson, Neil's brother. And he decided to play Eileen's accordion for a bit, which was really super because he used to play accordion a lot, but I haven't heard him play for a good few years now because he has very bad arthritis in his hands. So this was a really special occasion. Well, as you can see, the weather forecast for most of July hasn't been particularly inspiring, but it looks like the end of the month we might get a bit of better weather. For a while I'd only been getting 1 egg a day from my 3 hens, and I'd checked all of their usual hiding spots for doing their eggs, and finally here in the old compost heap among some self-set potatoes. I found where they'd been laying their eggs. So that's Constance and Sylvia who've been laying in there, and you can't quite see the eggs because I think that's Sylvia sitting on them, but I'll pop a photo in just now. I was looking at the new rabbit hole diggings in the top field the other day, and saw this tiny little hand, which to be honest freaked me out for a little bit before my brain processed what it was, and hopefully you can make it out, but there is a frog in there, which was lovely to see because I don't really see that many frogs at all. I normally get some tadpoles in the pond each year, but they never seem to get to frog stage, so it was really super to see this little chap. Finally, we got a forecast for some good weather. Meg certainly enjoyed it and kept sticking her tongue out in approval. And I was able to get on with some more clipping. So here I am just about to clip Sandy, and I think Ginger Tom is waiting for his turn too. As well as clipping the sheep, I've also been able to make a good start on sorting through all the fleeces. These are what I'll take to the mill next month. So here's just one of the fleeces laid out on a board. There's Sparky. He's been very sensible and going in the shade where it's a bit cooler for him. And that's the mountain of fleeces I have to sort through. So what I'm doing here is just going through, taking off any sort of really matted or felted bits, any poopy bits, any bits of sort of vegetation that have got stuck in there. See how crimpy it is though, it's really lovely. You even get things like little beetles stuck in their fleece. So once I've sorted that, I'll roll it all up and then it'll look like this, and from there it gets put in a sack with others and I'll take the sacks off to the mill. Here's a fleece you might recognise. This is from Roller Cola, or Roly, and he has such a distinctive fleece. He has these really wavy locks and has a lovely dark brown sort of undercoat, and then down his sides he has these kind of white cream curly locks which are so pretty. That's the bit that would have gone round his neck. As the hen's saying hello. But just such a special fleece. I really love his ones. And you can see how long his fleece is. We had another beautiful evening, although the forecast for the following day wasn't particularly great. And here we are at the end of July, back to fog and drizzle again. Baling has been happening on the Isle. That's preparing the silage to feed the sheep in the winter, and as you can see that field's been completely done. All of the crofts on the Isle have had their outer edges of their fields done, apart from mine. Here's Teresa saying hello. And normally everyone gets their outers cut, then everyone gets their inners cut, but hopefully you can see there about half of the crofts on the Isle have had their inners done as well, and I'm the only person not to have had any done, so keep your fingers crossed for me. and I'll leave you with a bit of a smile. This is from a few days ago when I'd managed to get some of the sheep clipped, and it's which is a sheep, which is a fleece, because I'd laid out some of the fleeces in their rolls and some of the sheep had gone and laid down beside them. See you soon. Bye bye.